All right, everyone. Hey, let us know. I think we have hopefully fixed the audio
Testing.
situation here. I'm going to record it into here as well. Okay, we got backups. I think we've done this before. This is actually so if you're able to watch this on LinkedIn or on YouTube or on Facebook, can you just drop a comment maybe that says we can hear you? And that would make me so happy. Checking in. So we are here at the Specright Summit in lovely, beautiful. I got to go outside for a little bit today.
Yes.
Nice.
Very nice.
Lovely Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, sound works.
All right.
Thanks, Dustin. You're the best.
Thank you, Dustin.
Appreciate you. So so we're here in lovely Nashville, Tennessee at the Specright Summit. I'm Adam Peak. I'm the host of the People of Packaging podcast and a senior vice president at Myers. And I am joined on these interviews by my good friend and the Batman to my Robin.
Yeah, the Robin to your Batman.
No.
Maybe.
No. I'll be...
Depends on the day, I guess.
I'll be the... who was the butler's name? Alfred. Oh. I'll be the Alfred to your Batman. Cory Connors.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Host of
Sustainable Packaging Podcast with Cory Connors.
That's right. And we are, oh, good. Josh says it's working on LinkedIn. Now we are cooking with organic butter. So we are joined by Trey Carson. And Trey is going to introduce yourself, kind of, where you live at and what your favorite shade of blue is on the Pantone scale, just normal.
The basics.
Not holding back. Start with the hardballs. Oh, thanks for having me, first of all. Thanks, Adam and Cory, for introducing me there. My name is Trey Carson. I head up sales and partnerships for TOPS Software. And some of you in the packaging world are probably familiar with either, at the minimum, the reports, right, of the, couple colored palette patterns that you see. It's all over the industry. So we've been around for 30 years, and I've been with TOPS for almost 7 years now.
Wow.
Yep. So have really grown organically with the company, and we're excited to be here. A lot of great stuff going on with Specright, some new integrations, the ones that are already there. Excited to talk about those with you guys.
That's awesome. I remember once when this was back when I bought packaging for my uncle's company, Peak Packaging.
Yeah.
And we had a project, I want to say it was for one of the club stores, and it was my first introduction to TOPS. This was 14 years ago, maybe. And we figured out if we change the internal size of a folding carton by, I don't remember, it was like a decrease of 10%, and helped the customer maximize their pallet configuration, that they were going to, it was like 28% more product on a pallet by just this small little reduction on the internal folding carton. It was a fascinating thing for me, and it really opened up my eyes to the convergence between efficiency and cost, and then also sustainability, right? And I know that we can probably touch on all of those, but that was my first introduction to TOPS some 15 years ago. Before that, I knew of TOPS as a baseball card company that I collected as a kid, and then it became way more important to me as I got into the packaging industry. So I know that TOPS has a lot of different use cases, and like I said, we'll dive into that, but I'm really curious to know a little bit about you. Like, how did you get into the selling and managing of partnerships at a software company in the packaging industry? Where do you live at?
Yeah, so I actually live in College Station. I recently moved though from the Dallas area, which is where TOPS is headquartered. So
we're supposed to say Gig'em, is that?
Yeah, yes, yeah, you're familiar. Most people are like, College Station.
Oh no, I coached at Colorado State with Buzz Williams when he was an assistant coach there. In 2002.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah, well, I just recently moved there, but anyhow, I got my start with TOPS actually because I happen to know the founder and owner of TOPS Software, Bill Rain, and he's a family friend growing up, and really when I went to my undergrad at Texas A&M and did nothing that has to do with packaging, but I did a minor in business and knew I wanted to go into sales. Mm-hmm. And Bill had an opportunity at TOPS, and I learned a little bit about them and what they do, and I just thought to myself, this is really easy to understand. There's a clear value here, and that's one of the best things about TOPS is there's nothing complicated about it. Hey, we get more product on your pallet.
Right.
It's very, very easy to sell. I was like, well, I think I can probably manage that. So got started with them right out of college.
Okay.
And have been working with them ever since. Wrapped up doing my MBA at SMU. TOPS was a part of that as well. And just growing my career through them organically has really been a ride. And with the recent expansions and all these partnerships, Specright was one of the first. We've got some other partnerships with like Impact CAD and things like that.
Okay.
And RDOs. But this was one that really kind of blew up, right?
Yeah.
And TOPS said, Trey, we want you to take the reins on this one and really run with it. And that's exactly what we've done.
Is there a thing for is it the Mustangs? Is there something that we should know about? Because it seems like every Texas team has like their own thing. It's like Bears or like Longhorns or what?
Except for the Aggies.
Well, they got their thing, right?
Yeah, it's got the gig.
They got the gig 'em thing. And none of them were better than TCU this year.
I know.
So anyway, I don't really know a whole lot more about that, but that's really cool. Yeah. And what, I'm sure you don't run into many prospects who are like, we're trying to figure out how to put less products on a pallet. Can you help us with that? Like we want the least efficient. No,
and you mentioned earlier just about these scenarios where just a fraction of an inch makes a huge difference.
Yep.
And some of the mantra that we have around TOPS is, it's empowering organizations to make the most of every inch. And that's exactly what we do. Is we're a spatial optimization company that offers two different software products, TOPS Pro being one of those, and really the flagship one there, where it just gives packaging professionals of all sorts. Doesn't have to be a packaging engineer at all. I mean, anyone can learn how to use TOPS in 30 minutes.
Yep.
And make a noticeable impact in their business in one analysis.
Yeah.
That's really what's so great about working with software like TOPS is that 30 minutes really can make all the difference in something as simple as pallet packing. Yeah.
I learned it. Same thing, right? I mean, this was a while ago, and I downloaded like the free version of it because I was told I had to figure something out, and I went in and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty easy to use, and I think that we ended up like paying for it and using it for a lot of our customers after that. So it was pretty great.
Yeah, like Adam, the first time I saw it, I was blown away by it, and I remember presenting that to our customer and saying, look at this difference from what you're doing today, and having the look on their face of, wow, this is amazing. Look at how much money we're going to save in freight, how much we're going to reduce the packaging costs. And now we're looking at that as being more sustainable. And back then it was just cost driven or reduction in space, which are all great things, but now we call that sustainability. And that's wonderful news. But I'm excited to learn about some new innovations that you have with Specright, which is called TOPS Lite. Can you walk us through that and how that's going to work?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start just briefly with what the integration is now and how the new integration TOPS Lite is going to be different from that. So right now, within Specright, you may have a retail unit, and you want to pass that to TOPS to do your case sizing and pallet optimization. So you can do that and launch TOPS Pro directly from Specright. And it'll bring up the application, but it'll be pre-populated with the data that's already in Specright. So that goes through. You don't have to worry about the double keying and doing all that, any error that might occur there.
Right.
So the integration takes care of that. You do your calculation, you get your results, your optimized pallet pattern, and it goes right back into Specright. You've got your PDF report there and just the statistics. With TOPS Lite, instead of actually having to launch the application still, it's going to be essentially an automated API. And so what will happen is within Specright, the user will be prompted to input a series of parameters. If you're at all familiar with TOPS, it's going to be the core ones. So it's light. It's termed light because you're not going to have all the detail that you would in a client. And that's understandable. But basically, you input those parameters and they will go straight to TOPS Pro operating as a service, fully automated service in the cloud. So it'll hit that. TOPS is going to do its normal calculations for palletization or case sizing, and it's going to go right back to Specright without having to launch anything. And you'll see something like, some thumbnails or so of the different patterns that you can choose from, maybe the top 5 instead of the top 50. So it just makes it a much more streamlined process for the end user. You're not having to work with multiple applications. It's going to be able to go through quite a few calculations very quickly, because it is just those few parameters that you're after. So it really enables the user to get through a lot of work very quickly.
That's great. Yep. Is it like a single user sign on or something like that, where like they're in, so if I'm in Specright and I want to get a TOPS configuration, and I don't like get into that every day, right? So I'm probably asking questions like, golly, this guy's not really smart, which is true. But so they like hit a button that's like, create TOPS palletization, and is it internal then into like it just stays in Specright, or does it go out to another thing and then it pulls it in?
So nothing else is going to be launched. I mean, you're
got it. This is the light one, right?
It's for the light version.
Okay.
Yeah. With the current integration, you still need to own a license of TOPS, because it is going to, whether it's one of our cloud solutions or one of the on-premise solutions, it's going to have to launch that license.
Got it.
And it's just pulling in data.
Yeah.
Save you some keystrokes. But with the light version, the TOPS Lite integration, what's going to happen there is you're only in that web page.
Got it.
Specright. So the whole time you're there, it's just a series of that I've seen so far, because it's still in beta. But it's just going to be a series of windows that are prompting you with those few parameters that you'd normally see in TOPS.
Does TOPS also, so obviously we've talked about the Specright integration, but I'm thinking, does TOPS also integrate with like freight software, so that if someone's trying to calculate out, okay, what would be my estimated freight savings, can they also pull in things from, I don't know what it would be, DHL or somebody like that?
So we don't have that type of integration, not specifically with DHL. And actually what you're getting to really falls into our second product offering, which is called MaxLoad. It's a completely separate software product that we offer aside from TOPS. And it's more focused on that mixed cargo calculations. Yeah. And so that's been an area of huge growth for us lately, especially through the pandemic and the just skyrocketing cost of containers and even just domestic truckloads. A lot of growth there. And basically what that product does is it's similar. We're still doing spatial optimization, but it's not a linear progression through a single product. And the best way to do it, it's more of, I have a manifest of these items. How does this fit onto an LTL mixed pallet situation? Is it a full truck? Is it a full container? It answers that question, provides you that data. And then we do have an arrangement using the same type of API technology with actually Project 44, which is a growing company in the kind of freight rate platforms.
Okay.
And you can go there and it does that type of situation.
I've heard of that.
Cool. Somewhere to look into.
That's really awesome. Hey, if you got a question here, we got a few more minutes. I know Cory's been writing things down, but if you got a question out on the interwebs, please drop it in here into the comments, and we will ask Trey.
Yes. So anything that you saw at the show here at Specright Summit that kind of surprised you or that you were excited about?
Let me think for that. With anything, it's always exciting talking about what I think is this network, this growing that Matt has always talked about as being his vision, where there's a single spec for a pallet, 48 by 40 pallet that everyone's using. Why does it have to be replicated so many different places? And even with things like containers overseas and trucks, we could really use some single standardization of specifications for those. And that network with Specright being kind of the leader there is really exciting.
Yeah, I totally agree.
The possibility of standardized packaging is real. And we were talking to Michelle Carvel about that today, and we didn't necessarily,
which nobody could hear.
We didn't
but
necessarily.
Cory and I had a great conversation with Michelle.
It was really wonderful.
It was a wonderful conversation.
She's brilliant.
She's very British and very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the possibility of having the same bottle for every kind of soda or the same can, which is kind of a precursor to what's happening, is that 12-ounce can is that 12-ounce can, no matter where you are, and it works. And here's how it fits on a pallet, and here's how many you can fit in the truck. And so that kind of a system makes a lot of sense to me. Do you think that's possible for the future?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
It would make our life easier. Everyone's always asking,
Right.
do you have you got the standards in there, right?
Yeah.
And they're speaking about pallets and trucks, and I've had people ask even about boxes.
Yep.
Do you have the standards? And I'm like, well, what are the standards? We don't really have that. Yeah, we've got popular options that are out there, but having that true standard would be just so beneficial for everyone in the whole industry.
Yeah, really well said.
Agreed. Well, I'm going to share your LinkedIn profile here on the video. Is that maybe the best way if people wanted to reach out, they got questions for you, connect up with you on LinkedIn? This is your time to shamelessly plug.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, like we've already covered, everybody should be wondering, how do I maximize my pallet loads, right? I mean, or truck loads, like you talked about. Was it max load? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Max load, and then also kind of optimizing your pallets. And so but is LinkedIn the best way then for someone to reach out and get a hold of you? Is there a website they should go to? Do all your things?
So yeah, absolutely. I say this to everyone, that this is some of the lowest hanging fruit in your supply chain. Make sure you have got as much product on your pallets as possible. It is so simple. There is a minimal investment up front to make this happen and implement it, and the results are huge. So the best way to get in contact with us is absolutely reach out to me on my LinkedIn. Our website is www.topseng, short for engineering.com. And out there, you can request trials. We do free trials of both programs. You can get in touch with one of our reps there, myself, and we'll take care of you. As far as, we love to sit down and understand what are your challenges as far as packaging optimization, palletization, and really work and partner with our customers on finding the best solution for them.
Awesome.
Great. Well, Trey, thank you so much for coming on the live / podcast. I'm thankful that it actually recorded. That's fantastic. And, everyone, please check out not only what Specright's doing, but also TOPS, and that integration is it makes so much sense. And helping you drive not only your sustainability scores, but also just your efficiency and your financial scores. And we should probably do something about the sun shining right in my face at some point.
I think
It's getting warm here.
Great lighting, right?
It's great lighting. Anyway, thanks, Trey. Thanks everyone for watching.
Trey.
Appreciate it.